I want to tell some anecdotes about things I've seen in society that actually have happened to me and friends of mine. That if you don't understand the depth of mind control by even hearing these couple of anecdotes, I don't know what will explain it to you. You know, just to go back quickly, these false flags, this one in Paris, now this one in California. I mean, it's so blatant that these are scripted events with crisis actors, you know, who don't even display any real emotions, real grief, real trauma. And the news media is just constructing this whole narrative that this is, all just because of gun owners. We got to get these guns out of society. And they're tugging on the heartstrings because that's what they do. You know, and they got people thinking with their emotions, not with any logic, not with their minds, not with the logical part of the mind. You know, this neoliberal retard logic that goes like, we need to get all the guns away from private citizens, and so they'll only be in the hands of government and criminals who don't care about laws. You'll take them away from all the law-abiding people, you know, who don't want to harm anybody. They'll have no ability to resist the government and the criminals who don't care about what laws get passed. But you know what? There's a segment of people who are going to be turned into criminals because they are good people who don't care about what laws get passed when those laws take their rights. You're not taking my rights. You're not taking one firearm I have. You're not taking one magazine I have. You're not taking one thing I have for defense away from me. Not without bloodshed. And you know what? You think I'm the only person who feels like that in America? Let me tell you something, I'm tame about it compared to some people I even know personally. Let alone probably some of the really, really vehement people out there. How they feel about this. It would make me look tame. A very encouraging sign regarding the sentiment here in America regarding all this crap with these false flags. The day after Thanksgiving, on Black Friday, there was 185,000 gun sales in America on one day. I mean, that is like a gift from God itself, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I mean, that's one of the only things that has put a smile on my face in the last several months. That is such a beautiful, majestic statistic that it's just like I'm ecstatic over it. Because what that shows you is there's people who are awake to what's going on and they're drawing the line in the sand. And if you want to get total enslavement done here in America, you are just very much listen to the words that are leaving my mouth right now. Globalists, dark occultists, rogue people in government and military who are going to follow your orders to your own deaths. The only way, the only possible way that you're going to have of leading this particular country into total enslavement is through total war. And you better know that like you know your own name. You're not going to get it done without that. Just know that. And you want to keep trying to bring that dynamic, you're going to get war. That's what you're going to get. So, very encouraging statistic. That means that people aren't fooled by this agenda. Not here anyway. Some of them are. Some of them are retarded idiots who actually believe government cares about them and is trying to protect them. You know, like this clown, this commie clown coming on, network TV last night and, just talking like, they're supposed to be our protectors. Really? You're supposed to be my protector. I don't need a protector, boy. I don't need a protector. I don't need or want a protector. I'm my protector. And ultimately, living in accordance with natural law is my ultimate protection. That's what all the protection I need in any dimension of existence, anywhere. You know, so I don't need anybody coming up and telling me, I'm going to be your protector. I'm not a punk little boy child like you. You know, I don't want a protector. I take that responsibility unto myself like every human being should. This is the problem with society. You got too many little punk boys and girls who say, I don't want that responsibility. I want to be an eternal child. I don't want to have to learn how to defend myself. I don't want to have to learn how to fight the bad guys if I have to. And therein lies the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Weak people. Weak-minded and weak-bodied people who don't want to do what's required to keep their rights, to keep their freedom. No, they want somebody else to provide that quote-unquote service for them. You know what? It's not possible. That, first of all, it's not possible for you to abdicate that responsibility. It's always yours. And it's not possible for anybody else to truly protect you. That's not what these enslavers in government ever do anyway. All they do is show up after the fact. You know? Ain't one cop or soldier that I know that ever protected anybody. Especially cops. All they are good at doing is showing up after the fact and making things worse. You know? You want to talk about terrorism? There ain't nobody that's ever made any kind of a terroristic threat to me or made me feel like I was being terrorized or oppressed except police. Except American police. They're the only people who have ever made me feel physically threatened in life. That's it. No terrorist organization, no terrorist cell, no radical religionists anywhere have ever made me personally feel threatened for my personal physical safety. The only people in life who have ever done that to me are American police. So who are the real terrorists? Who are people who inspire feelings of unease and discomfort and threat, duress, in other words? Only people who have ever done that to me in my life are American police. I ain't even worried about gangster, criminal thugs, and thieves on the street. Because at least, again, you know where they stand. They're not people who are trying to tell you they're your protector while they're trying to physically harm you. You know where you stand with a common street thug criminal. The problem with government is people believe they have legitimacy in doing the violence that they do. So, I want to just get back to the degradation of consciousness in society. How bad it really is. How far gone we are. You know, all the work that people have been doing trying to explain to people about mind control, about dark occultism, about the loss of our freedoms, and what ultimate impact has it had? There are some people, a small percentage of people who are waking up and who are doing good work themselves. But you have this huge, huge swath of society that is just going deeper and deeper into a trance. And the mind control is so effectively working upon them because of their absolutely degraded emotional state. These people are literally retarded. Literally retarded. Which means slowed down. Their development, it's called arrested development. Intellectually, emotionally, and ultimately spiritually. They are in the state of arrested development, meaning that they never really came out of a childlike, naive, childlike emotional state. Because they're not doing any shadow work with themselves. They're not trying to understand the self better. They're not trying to understand the consciousness better. They're not trying to do self-reflection and personal improvement. This is a thing that is actually so sorely lacking. It's not even sorely lacking. It's actually talked about in a negative way in society. Now, oh, you want me to do personal improvement? That might involve effort. Truth? I mean, I've heard people scoff at truth in the time I've been off. I've heard people scoff at the term free will since I've been on this hiatus. Just interacting with people in society. I have heard people not only scoff at the term truth, I've heard somebody say, "Oh, that word." I mean, just imagine that. Scoff, like eyebrows come down in a furrow. And scoff when I said the word truth. And said, "Oh, that word." Like I just said a foul, dirty, filthy word. I mean, how destroyed does the spirit of a society need to be for any individual to hear the word truth and react negatively like that? How much mind control does a society have to be under? I heard someone scoff at the term free will. Oh, free will. You think that's really important? Or scoff at it as if it doesn't exist. Oh yeah, that's an illusion. I mean, this is how totally zombified, brainwashed they have members of our society. It's disgusting. It's totally disgusting. It's very, very frustrating. And again, I feel more sad for these people than I do angry with them. It's like, you're that destroyed. You're that weak. You're that spiritually dead. You know, how did you ever allow yourself, capital S self, to come into this degraded condition? It's pathetic and sad. And the problem is, folks, people will say, "Well, why are you angry about it?" The problem is because unfortunately, very unfortunately, and I don't want it to be this way, but I'm not the kind of person that says, "Oh, because I don't want it to be that way, I won't acknowledge how it really is." This is how most people react to things that they don't like, that are actually true and real. They'll try to say, "Oh, no, it's not that way. It's the way I want it to be." Well, I don't do that. I'm not a naive person that thinks I can make reality the way I want it to be just because I don't like how it is. I fully understand how it is, to a depth that most people do not understand, and have seen the people who are making it like this, through their willful efforts to make it like this. So, people are in the condition of thinking, I'll make things how I want just because I'll ignore it. If it's uncomfortable with me, I'll ignore it and then it'll go away. It won't exist anymore. This solipsistic attitude. They actually think this way. That's how degraded they are spiritually. That's how naive they are. There is a huge, huge push in society to emasculate men. That's another thing. There is this gigantic push to somehow make men fearful and ashamed of being a strong man, a strong, willful man. This is what the neo-feminism agenda wants. They want men who have no will to challenge anything any woman says, regardless of how off base it is. Like truth, or free will. Why do you think that's so important? And when I tell you things that have occurred, when I'm getting ready to tell these anecdotes, you'll think that those things are like nothing in comparison with how bad it actually is.